Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're looking at the Revoltech Amazing Yamaguchi Terry McGinnis Batman from Batman Beyond. I ordered this guy from OmniOmni.com. If you're ordering your import figures from Big Bad Toy Store or another American website, you're probably paying far too much. I'll put a link in the description below. So let's take a look at the packaging. As you can see the top, looks like probably some Japanese lettering. Revoltech Amazing Yamaguchi Batman Beyond, officially licensed DC Batman figures. Here he is on the front. One side of the packaging, Revoltech, Batman Beyond. Other side, you can see a couple of different options for the figure. And at the back, here's a figure. Tons of interchangeable parts and accessories and display options. Here is his barcode, if it helps anybody. So with no further ado, let's open him up. And of course, I did get two of these figures. One of which to open and enjoy, the other one to keep unopened in my complete Batman-related unopened action figure collection. Alright, now that we've got this figure out of the package, here he is with all the accessories laid out. We have a display stand, a couple of replacement pegs, removable wings, two different heads, 8 alternate hands, totaling 10 interchangeable hands, 2 batarangs, and a couple of flame exhaust effects for under his feet. Before taking a look at all that, let's talk about and check out the figure. So this is Batman from Batman Beyond. This is the Amazing Yamaguchi figure, so it's not exactly based off the cartoon, not actually based off the comics, something sort of in between. It's going to be Revoltech's own sort of unique take on the Terry McGinnis Batman. In Batman Beyond, it's set in the not-too-far future, where Bruce Wayne is an old man, he's retired and kind of a hermit. Terry McGinnis stumbles across the Batcave, and then takes on the mantle and becomes the new Batman. He's guided by old man Bruce Wayne, and in the cartoon, it's part of the Batman the Animated Series universe, which is awesome. Personally, I love the visuals of Batman Beyond. I love the universe, but there's definitely some things I don't like, being the sort of teeny bopping, going to clubs at nighttime, having trouble with your homework, girlfriend problems, fighting with your little brother Batman. It's definitely handled better in the comics than the cartoon. I do love the cartoon. I love the designs. I love the villains. I love the world building. But a teenage Batman just doesn't quite do it for me. Like I said, there have been more mature versions of Batman Beyond. And I still have much love for Batman Beyond. When I was a kid, I loved it. But as an adult, I see it a little bit differently. Now, in addition to that, I will say that I'm kind of an Amazing Yamaguchi hater. Visually, I don't like the way the figures look. It's not exactly that, but they're very stylized, and there are certain things I don't like. For example, looking at this guy, he looks pretty good. He looks pretty cool. Visually very interesting. I've never liked the Amazing Yamaguchi crotch area. It looks kind of ugly, but his is a little bit better. Not quite as bad as some of them. The things I don't like about this guy is the shoulder and elbow joints. They can look good, but they can also look hideous so easily. I feel like they could have designed them a little better. They have a good range of motion, but they can look bad in more than half the poses unless you're careful and cover up the joints. And personally, I don't think you should have to do that. Some people really love these figures, and I don't hate them exactly. I think they've improved quite a bit over the years. The original Deathstroke and Batman were hideous. Joker's pretty damn ugly. Harley Quinn looked pretty good. The Arkham Knight Batman, Arkham Knight himself, and Catwoman are pretty nice figures. This Batman Beyond looks to continue in that direction. So let's take a closer look. Now he has a sort of like mechanical, futuristic, sort of, I don't know, computerized suit. And it all gives me Batman Beyond vibes, but it doesn't look like the show or the comics. It's Revoltech's unique design. Start with this head here. Very interesting. The shape is a traditional Batman shape. Red eyes, and these red lines going through, which always sort of made me think this sort of computerized, cybernetic world. Let's go further down. He's got the Batman Beyond bat symbol on his chest, and I like the way they did that. He has these sort of butterfly joints, and they have part of the bat symbol here, so it looks good here. And then when you push it in, it really still looks decent. Although it looks kind of bad like this. Like I said, here are those ugly-ass shoulder joints. Giant balls that you can see. Bam, do that, and you can't really see them. Do that, and you can. Do that, and you can. Do that, and you can. Do that, and you can't. So you got to work really hard to cover them up, and I think that sucks. They look hideous by themselves. Look at that big giant gap. Not just the ball, but it's like there's nothing there. You can see that little sort of peg between the two ball joints. It just looks so ugly. The elbow's a similar type vibe to it, although they did a pretty good job of trying to put the forearm big enough to cover up the elbow, but you can still see that hideous bulge joint most of the time. Nothing wrong with the wrists. He's a little bit sort of skinny, a little bit too skinny, and the crotch area has that sort of weird design. It's partly because the hips, it just looks off to me. Now, the articulation has a ton of stuff you can do here, but a lot of what you do, it'll sort of break up that red line there, and it won't look quite as smooth. The belt's sort of just going all over the place. I want to push it down and keep it there where it's supposed to be. I guess it's sort of like double jointed elbows. I mean, they go in more than single joints, but maybe not quite as much as double joints. Same with the knees. They go back really far, and it's a single joint, but has really good range of motion. He has this very unique sort of armored look to him. Not quite like the show, but you can tell where the inspiration comes from. So, it has its flaws, especially the shoulders. Probably the thing I hate the most about this guy. But he looks damn cool. Now, I kind of gave you that spiel about my feelings on Amazing Yamaguchi for a couple reasons. Number one, I'm going into this with a little bit of a bias against this figure, so if I give it a good rating, that's pretty impressive. But just the articulation, the style, and the way the joints look is just bad. There are so many people that absolutely love these figures, and I think they're grossly overrated. This guy doesn't really have the anime look to him, which I do appreciate, but he's of course in a full suit. But he still has some of those weird articulation things with the hips, the crotch area, the elbows, the shoulders. They really just bother me. Some of them function okay, but some of them look just horrible depending on how you pose them. Still, I'd say this guy is one of the better Amazing Yamaguchi offerings that I have. And a closer look at his face and head sculpt. I get some Spider-Man 2099 vibes off this guy. He is supposed to be in this sort of futuristic setting, and he definitely looks like it. And then, here's this figure, broken down as far as he can go, with all of his removable parts detached. Now let's check out his accessories. And let's start off with the display stand. His display stand comes in 3 main pieces. When put together, it looks like this. We have this large base, and any of those holes you can put this sort of display stand into. At the bottom here, can rotate. It's hinged. Hinge in the middle. Hinge near the top. Rotation at the top, and then has this clamp to hold your figure in place. Another option with the display stand, if you don't want to have a sort of little claw thing wrapped around his waist, you can take that off and simply plug a little peg into his butt, into his butthole, literally. But then, once again, it's still not trying to support his weight, which is super, super annoying. But it'll look like this, and can visually be a little bit better from the front because you don't have that thing sort of wrapping around his waist. Of course, you can still see the display stand between his legs and stuff. But if you position it right, you can hide a lot of that with your photography. Now let's look at his replacement pegs. I believe these are for his wrists. I don't know why one's yellow and one is black. His wrist pegs are black on the figure, and yellow will just stand out like a sore thumb. I do really appreciate when companies give you an extra wrist peg because, my god, if that thing snaps, it kind of ruins the entire figure. And I've definitely had some issues with some import figures with those problems. And especially when they're expensive import figures like this, it really sucks to have to glue a hand or something back on. Now let's look at his hands. He has a total of 10 hands, 5 left hands, and 5 right hands. Here he is with his first pair of hands. These are his fists. And here's his second pair of hands. This is a pair of gripping hands with trigger fingers. And his third pair of hands. This is a pair of open hands. And his fourth pair of hands. This is a pair of flight hands. And his final and fifth pair of hands. These hands are pretty damn cool. These are his claw hands. In the cartoon, he could sort of turn his fingernails into claws and use them to climb up walls, etc., etc. Now let's look at his heads. He has 2 of them. One with the mouth shut, and then one with sort of an angry-looking face and the teeth exposed. Here he is with his first head. This one has the normal expression, the mouth closed, and honestly you can barely even tell he has a mouth. It's all black down there. And then here, with the second head, this one has the angry expression. You can see his teeth shaped into a frown. And I don't mean to beat this dead horse with a stick, but just look at the shoulders. His ball joints are just hideous. And some people are going to say, oh, you need to learn how to pose the Amazing Yamaguchi figures. No, I know how to pose them. You just shouldn't have to work so hard to hide those ugly things like that. There are definitely better ways they could design that without having those huge ball joints exposed 3/4 of the time. Now for his wings. They are removable, and they have this gorgeous texturing all over it. It looks absolutely fantastic. We have this sort of metallic looking bat wings. It has little sort of things going down, kind of resembling a bat. The backside is textured the same way. And we have a little peg, which is hinged and has rotation. Here's Batman with the wings attached. They look pretty damn cool. I love the texturing and sculpt. Paint job is just as good as well. One thing I don't like, he gives you even more ugly ball joints to try to hide and deal with. Now the articulation is also very nice. Of course, you can rotate. It's hinged to go sort of back and forth. And then it also can sort of fold inside in the middle there. Pretty damn cool. In addition to that, to go along with his wings, we have these sort of flame exhaust pieces that will attach to the bottom of his feet. The Terry McGinnis Batman had sort of rockets on the bottom of his feet, and then he had the wings to help him glide, etc. Cast in sort of a semi-transparent orange, and it gets yellow as it goes to the top. So that would be what the extra sort of wrist peg is for. Here's a quick example of Terry McGinnis with these flame pieces on his feet, utilizing the flight stand. Now, the flight stand's kind of weak. First of all, it doesn't elevate him a whole lot. Maybe an 1.5 to 2 inches off the ground. Enough to make clearance for the flame here, but it's not that strong. I mean, if you bend it down a little bit, it's like it's not strong to really support it properly. I mean, it's trying to fall over, try to lift this thing up, it's just going back down. Kind of a crappy flight stand. And I know you can sort of tighten them if you have a really small flathead, but why don't they just send it already ready for this figure? I mean, look at that. That kind of sucks. Yes, it can be adjusted, but why? This is the figure that comes with each and every one of these flight stands with the figure. You know it's meant for this guy, so just tighten it for us so it's ready to go. And its final accessory, some Batman Beyond style batarangs. I love the fact that he has 2 of them. They have sort of a metallic shiny paint job, and they look just like the cartoon and the comics. Here's Batman holding and getting ready to throw his batarang. Now they've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and his accessories. Let's check out his height. From bottom to the top of his head, standing about 6.2 inches tall, which can translate to just under 16 centimeters. If you go to the top of the ears, about 6.4, maybe 6.5 inches tall. And for his articulation, which I have mixed feelings on. I mean, he's sort of a super articulated figure, but totally not feeling the shoulders. Just big giant gap, big giant ball. Elbows really aren't that bad. He's super, super skinny, almost looks sort of emaciated. The belt is not staying where it's supposed to be. You really want it down there to cover up that sort of gap right there. Way too skinny. The sort of whole area of the hips, it just never looks right to me on these amazing Yamaguchi figures. I just not feeling that aspect of them. Beyond that, there's really nothing else that's bothering me, but so his head can rotate side to side. He can look up quite a bit, down quite a bit as well. Can sort of tilt his head from one side to the other. He does have articulation both at the top of the neck and at the bottom of the neck. Shoulders, a ball joint, goes up way more than 90 degrees, but it looks hideous from the bottom and from the top. Just that gap is awful. It just looks like his arm is disconnected and just sort of floating there. So up, down, rotate all the way up, and it can rotate at the base as well as the shoulder and then sort of at the bicep. Tons of articulation there. He has a little bit of a bicep cut, not getting much there. He's got double jointed elbows, they go all the way in. His wrist can rotate and it's hinged. His torso, he's got these butterfly joints here, forward and back, and I think they look cool, but God, when they go inside, that Beyond logo looks so dumb. He's got a ball joint in his torso, rotate around, forward and back. Another one in his waist, rotate around, forward and back at least a little bit. Legs, he kind of do splits, just looks weird because his top part doesn't quite go the same. I don't know, it just looks awkward to me. The whole thing doesn't look natural. There's rotation at the thigh. Go all the way out. Sort of double jointed knee. It's like a single joint, but it goes in quite a bit. He's got another like piece of articulation in the middle of the shin, which is kind of weird. It has rotation. The actual knee does not. And then his ankle, forward and back. It has rotation there as well. Tilt rock and toe articulation. Here's a look at the Terry McGinnis Batman flying over the city, New Gotham. Now let's check them out. Next to some other action figures, starting off with some other Batman Beyond figures. Here's his amazing Yamaguchi Batman Beyond, next to all the McFarlane DC Multiverse Batman Beyond figures. They've made a total of 8 different ones. And here he is with all of my DC Direct Batman Beyond figures. Then, with my Mattel Batman Beyond Terry McGinnis figures. Next, with an older Hasbro Batman Beyond figure. Here are all the Terry McGinnis Batman Beyond Batman figures that I have in my collection. I believe I have all of them in the 6 and 7 inch scale. If there are any out there that I'm unaware of, please let me know. Here he is with a couple of McFarlane Batwoman Beyond figures. And here with the custom Terry McGinnis and Max Gibson figures from the Batman Beyond cartoon. And finally, with a DC Direct Old Man Bruce Wayne and Ace the Bat Hound from Batman Beyond. Now let's check them out next to some other amazing Yamaguchi figures. Here he is, next to amazing Yamaguchi's first Batman. And I really hate this figure. I think he's ugly. His articulation is ugly. His cape is just such a pain in the ass to deal with. This is an earlier figure, and I think they were much, much worse back then. They have done some considerable improvements since those days. And here, next to the amazing Yamaguchi Deathstroke, he just looks awkward, sort of hunched up. There is a 1.5 coming out, and I imagine it will be at least a slight upgrade. He has like the shoulder pads covering up the ugly ball joints, but they're really ugly in his elbows and the crotch area, the hips, just so bad. Next, with some amazing Yamaguchi Harley Quinn figures. We have the original version, a paint variant, and there's even an Ami exclusive version. Now there was some kind of San Diego Comic-Con exclusive amazing Yamaguchi Harley Quinn. I would love to get my hands on 2 of those. If anybody has any information they could share with me that would be useful, please drop me a line in the comments below. It is much appreciated. And now, with the amazing Yamaguchi Joker, the original release on the left and the 1.5 on the right. This guy is just ugly. His face is ugly, his neck's like a giraffe, he's got the ugly shoulders. And the new one is maybe a slight improvement, but has the same problems except his eyes are a little bit less wonky. And he looks kind of metallic, which is not necessarily a good thing. At least not on a suited figure like Joker. Then, with some amazing Yamaguchi Arkham Knight and Red Hood figures. On the left, we have the original Arkham Knight Red Hood, and on the right, the 1.5 release. This figure is a considerable improvement upgrade from some of the previous amazing Yamaguchi stuff. They have the ugly shoulders and elbows, but with most of him, looks damn good. Here's Terry McGinnis Batman, next to the amazing Yamaguchi Arkham Knight Batman and Catwoman. These figures are significant upgrades. I think Batman looks great. The ugly ball joints, the shoulders are hidden with the shoulder pads. The crotch area still looks a little weird and like the hips, but it's a huge improvement. The figure is actually awesome. Catwoman is also a big improvement compared to what they used to do, but not quite as good as Batman. And then here's my entire collection of amazing Yamaguchi figures. Like I said, I'm kind of an amazing Yamaguchi hater. There's plenty of haters out there. There's McFarlane haters, Mattel haters, Mafex haters, Mezco haters. It just depends on your personal preference. I collect only the Batman-related DC figures, and I'm not going to lie, I've seen some noticeable improvements. The Arkham figures are great. Batman Beyond has those really ugly shoulders and kind of backslid a little bit there. And I see so many people out there praising these amazing Yamaguchi figures. The Superman, the Flash, the Reverse Flash, Wolverine, Deadpool, they all look hideous. They have this anime stylized thing going on. And then their hip area looks so bad. And they have those ball joints in the shoulders and the elbows. They just look so ugly. Now, I understand they can achieve a lot of poses, but you have to be so careful how you do it. And if they're just standing there, they just frankly look bad. Now let's check them out next to some action figures from different various companies, so we can see how he fits in, both scale and style-wise. In case you want to know which lines you can mix him with. Since he's an amazing Yamaguchi figure, they're typically the 6-inch scale. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of these smaller action figure lines I collect, and work way larger. Here he is with some Jazzwares Fortnite figures, and some SH Figure Arts action figures. And now, with some Hasbro Marvel Legends and Mafex figures, here's this Batman, next to a package of ramen noodles. And here he is, with some Mattel and Mezco figures. Then, with both some Mattel and Jazzwares wrestling figures. And now, with some NECA and DC Direct figures. Next, with some Diamond Select toys and Jack-specific wrestling figures. And finally, with some McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. So overall, it's a pretty cool Batman Beyond figure. Now, normally I complain about the Yamaguchi being very stylized and anime looking, and to tell you the truth, I actually like the way he's stylized. It's different from what I'm used to, and it doesn't have the anime look, as he has a mask on. I'm sure if he had an unmasked head, it would look like an anime character, but he doesn't. Now, the thing that does bother me is the articulation scheme. The shoulders are just absolutely hideous. Elbows, not quite so bad. He looks way too thin in the waist, and the hip area bothers me. It just doesn't move the way I'd like it to, and it looks awkward. And then if he's standing up flush, his legs kind of go out to the side and then go straight down. You just can't get him to stand up looking normal without really making those red lines inconsistent and not line up or match. His accessories are absolutely fantastic. I love the wings, tons of hands. Those claw hands are awesome. The flame exhaust, the batarangs, it's all good stuff. And the display stand, I love the fact that it has that option to peg into his butt versus using this sort of little claw thing to hold him. Now the stand should be a little tighter, able to hold your figure. I feel like no matter what figure it comes with, you'll have to adjust it, and that's kind of annoying. Now when I first saw this guy solicited, I thought, man, that figure looks great. Amazing Yamaguchi did a great job on this guy. And that's not entirely incorrect, but it's not as good as I expected based off the promo pictures. I wanted to give this guy an 8 out of 10, but I don't think he deserves it. I like the way he looks, but the articulation is just hideous, especially in those shoulders. My word. Whether you see the ball joints or you see the big giant gaps, yeah, you can cover it up with the shoulder pads, but you shouldn't have to. There are definitely better ways to engineer this figure. So if I were to rate this guy, I want to give it a 6.5, but I don't want to lowball him too much. It's a nice looking figure. Those big red eyes kind of make me think some sort of Spider-Man 2099 type thing. 6.57, I'm teetering between the two. Hate to say it, I'm probably going to land at a 6.5 just because it just looks awkward in so many different areas on the figure. So this is D Hunter. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.